He's the tallest man on the radio, so sit right back and enjoy the show. Flying through the air like a ballistic missile. Here's your host, Ben Kissel.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Ben Kissel channel. I'm Ben Kissel, joined by Kyle Ploof.
Hello.
Check out Kyle Ploof on the Death and Entertainment podcast, as well as the other show that we do right here on the Ben Kissel channel.
Hey.
I'm joined by Jerry, but not Aquino. It's Jerry Kissel, my dog.
Dog Jerry.
Indeed. He says, "Get me out of here, Dad. I hate you." Okay, bye, Jerry. We have a bunch of stuff to get to today. We're going to talk about what white dudes and white women are doing for Kamala.
Ooh.
Isn't that exciting? I'm working on it. Kamala. Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala. I'm working my ass off to try to figure this out.
Emphasis.
Indeed. So Mrs. Harris, Vice President Harris, potentially President Harris, she's got a bunch of white people who are so proud of themselves to support her. So we're going to talk about that. And also there's a dude, his name is Lichtman, and he has been predicting presidential elections since 1984. So we're going to hear a little bit about his insight.
Ooh.
Who does he believe at this time is favored to win in 2024? But first, JD Vance, he can't get enough of having sex with couches.
I mean,
Did you hear about all this?
someone is the same person keeps sending me memes over and over, and I'm like, this is unhinged. I thought it was just made up.
Honestly, for a senator, I'm surprised he's not having sex with lazy boys. If you know what I mean.
Hello.
They might be pedophiles, folks. But anyway, this is angering some people. And who is it angering? Not who you think. It's angering people who actually like to fuck couches.
Oh.
Because they say JD Vance getting roasted because people think he's having sex with a couch. That's reflecting poorly on their couch fucking community.
Oh my God.
Indeed.
The Facebook marketplace.
The internet, the idea, the place for the ideas, the mind ideas that all of us have. It's going to bring us all together. No, in reality, it's more about people talking about having sex with things that usually young boys jerk off on. So this is a gal, and she was all pissed off because JD Vance was being roasted for fucking couches. Now, I don't know where this came from. Kyle, before the show, said, who hasn't?
Yeah, who hasn't?
So he's a real JD Vance Republican over here. I can honestly say I have not. I know that women, when they're growing up, they'll be rubbing on basically anything that's mildly soft. So
Yeah.
I've heard more women having sex with the couch than men.
They're more pillow fuckers.
Right.
Guys, they see the crease, there's a hole.
Anything goes.
Anything goes.
Why is Kyle putting nipples on the couch, honey? Well, I think he sees it as one big boob.
Yeah.
So this gal, she took to X, right? And she says that, my God, there's nothing wrong with having sex with a couch. So what happens is, apparently what you do is you take a latex glove and you shove it between two cushions.
That's cheating.
Well, why? You want to have safe sex with the couch. What if the couch gets pregnant? Next thing you know, you got a Loveseat next to you, and your parents are like, "How the hell did we get that?" And be like, "Well, that couch gave birth to my loved child."
It's a pull-out couch.
Indeed. There you go. Now you're really on fire here, and people are enjoying listening in the car or at work,
Yeah.
or in the kitchen, wherever you might be. Thank you so much for listening to this fantastic highbrow program. So, apparently, there are a lot of people that like to have sex with objects. According to Dr. Berman, they're a relationship and sex therapist, and they are legitimate. Why? Because they were featured on the Oprah Winfrey Network, a.k.a. the Dr. Oz show.
Oh.
Dr. Oz, the man who could not beat John Fetterman, a man who could barely speak at the time of the election. So, they go on to say there's a lot of people who like to have sex with old furniture and home furnishings, and they should not be made to feel ashamed.
No, not at all.
Yes, maybe. It's called objectophilia. And I'm just joking. If you're currently in the middle of, blowing your lamp, go at it. Deep throat that thing until it can't turn on anymore. I don't care what you do as long as everyone's consenting. And I suppose an inanimate object is it neutral? Is it just sort of set to consent?
Yeah, I guess.
Or is there like a chair somewhere just openly weeping, just being like, I remember when Nanny just had me and she would just sit and watch Matlock on me. And now all of a sudden, Tom, he can't stop coming on me.
Well, I mean, Beauty and the Beast rules. That would be very scary.
If they're talking, then you have to get consent.
Like, that's the whole thing. They're like trying not to talk the whole time. And then finally they're like, oh,
oh my God. Just the poor
Mrs. Potts.
Mrs. Potts. My God. Not to mention what you could do with that candlestick.
That's right.
So she says all of these jokes, they are crazy because it causes, because maybe the people should think twice, because odds are good their own kink and other behaviors people would find bizarre. All of us have that thing where it's like, oh, maybe on my birthday, my wife will take the biggest dump on my eye. Everyone has something. You know, you want pink eye for Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you do. Again, just be safe and be consensual with it all. So she says, don't judge them because lest you be judged.
Yes.
So kind of taking a little bit of a biblical turn there.
Yeah. Don't throw stones when you're living in cum-filled couches.
Absolutely. This is the one thing, though, right? Usually sexual fetishes, when you go over to someone's house, you know, you don't sit on like the fuck donkey that they use.
Right.
If you're having company over,
Yeah.
and you know you just got, you know, you just finished having massive amounts of sex with this Pee Wee Herman style, you know, chair that you have, and then all of a sudden Terry's sitting in it. There's been like, can I have a White Claw? And you know you just had sex with that couch.
Right.
It's kind of like shaking someone's hand after you jerked off and you didn't wash your hand.
Yeah, like right after.
Right after.
Oof.
And be like, why is your hand so warm? I don't know. It's just that time of year.
You got to
Like,
get off the Pee Wee Sibian.
it's the middle of October. Yeah, exactly. So bottom line, Dr. Berman says political mudslinging is one thing, but she's standing up against demonizing anyone who happens to enjoy making sweet sofa love.
I mean, how do we even know that he's a couch fucker?
We don't, but you can pretty much say anything about this guy, and I'll just laugh.
Sure.
He is firmly becoming the worst VP choice in modern era. I think if Trump could do it over again, now that Harris again is on the top of the ticket, I don't believe he would choose JD Vance.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised he chose JD Vance to begin with, given the fact that all the anti-Trump things JD was saying for years. I'm a never Trumper. He's disgusting. But obviously we know why he did choose Peter Vance. It's because of it. I'm sorry. It's
JD.
Yes. We know why he did choose JD Vance. It's because of a fellow named Peter Thiel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Peter Thiel is the one who financed all of JD's career. Peter and Donny are friends. And Thiel was like, I can get 2 for 1. I'm going to get both of my dipshits in the White House. And then I'll have all the power in the world.
Yeah. If anything, I respect JD having sex with a couch more because he's not doing it for political gain or political prowess. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, is having sex with mayors and Montel Jordan. Not Montel Williams.
Montel Williams. But okay, what was the political clout she got from banging Montel?
Well, she's getting more power in the entertainment industry. Then she realized she didn't want entertainment. She wants more political.
Well, then she went over to Willie Brown.
Well, she went Willie Brown first, then Montel, and then went back to politics.
Well, to be fair, I think the couch might be stinkier than both of those guys. Who knows? But the kink expert does point out it's legal. It's legal to have sex with a couch. So JD,
unless it's like at the doctor's office.
Well, unless it's in public, yeah, you can't just go into a random,
waiting room
or a home furnishing store and just start being like, honk, honk. I'm just seeing if I really like it. I'm speed dating your couches right now. Anyway, well, let's get to some other stories. I want to talk about something slightly positive.
Okay.
Obviously, we're in the middle of the Olympics. On the last episode, we've been talking about that really shitty beach volleyball player who also rapes kids.
Yeah.
There's another subplot to the Olympics, and that involves Israel. There has been a lot of anti-Israel rhetoric. And again, we're putting aside what's happening. This is, I'm just going to report. I'm reporting here.
Yeah.
Ben Kissel, reporter cap. There's been a lot of anti-Semitic rants and sayings, and a lot of people a lot of nations not even competing against Israel because they don't recognize it as a country. So they're literally forfeiting because they're like, we'd rather lose to the Jew than even look at it. In a mildly good story in Tel Aviv, there was a peace rally. It was Palestinians and Jewish individuals. They marched this week and they were chanting yes to peace, yes to a deal, which has to happen.
Yeah.
This war cannot continue. Do it for the kids. Do it for the children.
Mm.
It's just absolutely devastating. Obviously, we have Iran getting involved. That Iron Dome certainly held up. Maybe the U.S. needs one coming pretty soon, judging by how world affairs are going. But I think this is at least a good sign that it's happening in Israel. The war has been going on for 9 long, long months. And this is kind of the first sign of people coming together. This is according to Amira Mohammed, a Palestinian citizen. They say it basically went silent after October 7th when it came to the idea of a peace movement.
Well, yeah.
So this peace yes, of course, about 1,000 people were brutalized, murdered, many still held captive. There's a lot of anger to go around, and it would be nice if the Biden administration, before Joe Bob goes, would try to get some of those individuals back into safe hands. But anyway, he says the radicals became louder than the peace movement, and we're seeing that in our own country as well, as both of the fringes just come together and scream and scream and scream, and the people in the middle are left to be like, y'all are fucking stupid, and stop messing with my traffic, please.
Yeah.
There was some moron who mentioned, who commented on one of my Instagrams, and he was like, yeah, enjoy your centrist. If centrism was so cool, then why aren't there protests and marches for it? Because that's the fucking point, is that it's normal.
Right.
Is that everyone's like, let's try to get along here.
Yeah.
So then we don't have to have a bunch of violent protests.
Exactly.
Anyway, he says the radicals became louder than the peace movement. So right now we've got to be radical about the peace that we want. I agree with Mr. Muhammad 100%. So he goes on to say, acknowledgement of the power dynamic between the occupier and the occupied, and a ton of accountability on both sides. So both sides have got to be like, bro, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is not a simple family feud. There's so much blood. There's so much resentment. There's so much just decades and decades of rage and anger. And obviously Israel, not that old of a nation, sort of put in there after WW2. And a lot of people were like, we didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was just law of the land. So there's so much work to be done. This is according to a 49-year-old teacher, Carmit Bar-Levy.
Whoa.
I like that, Carmit. Come over here, Carmit. That sounds like the name. I would give that to the couch that I find. That's Carmit, my couch. Open up wide, Carmit. The couch, not Bar-Levy. They say we've had enough. Enough with violence. Enough with the bloodshed. Again, obviously, it harkens back to October 7th. So in retaliation to the around 1,100 people killed, currently the death toll for the Palestinians in Gaza is 39,175. And I'm going to assume that number is actually higher because those are just the number of people that were counted.
Yeah.
This is what she added. She says, we can't stop violence with more violence. We need to ensure a good life for both Palestinians and Jews inside of Israel. We have to acknowledge that they have the same right to live here as us. That this is the home for both of us. So I thought that was a positive story. However, the powers that be, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi, he's Bibi.
Oh, that's cute.
I hate that. He says he's not going to stop until there's total victory, which I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Other than complete and utter, again, obliteration of the Palestinian people. And given the history of the Jewish people, you would think there might be slightly more sympathetic words coming from the powers that be in Israel when they say things like total victory. Again, this is what Maya Offer says. She's 23. She's a student. She says their government and our government only want war. That's the only thing they're good at doing. I believe that. And when when you're a hammer, you see the whole world as a bunch of nails that you need to pound into the ground.
Yep.
And that's exactly what they're doing here. She goes on to say, we have to remember that peace is an option. We don't have to convince the far right. That's not our job. We just need to convince the people in the middle who don't want any more war, but who are not sure what other way there is right now. Demonstrators were chanting, peace is the only way forward. They go on to say, there are children, women, babies dying just across the border from me. There are people there who are grieving too, just like me, and that want peace too, just like me. So I thought that was an interesting story, a human perspective, as opposed to just the political elite talking about why war is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And the contracts continue to come through and the war machine keeps roaring. So let's go on a little bit to Kamala Harris. All right. I'm just going to say this for my people. I'm very white. I got more white skin than 99.9% of the whites. Shut up.
Yeah.
Whites, shut up.
Yeah.
White dudes for Harris. White women for Harris. And then they want to get like applause? They want an applause break?
Right.
I have no idea. Anyway, so celebrities, they are joining forces to help out Kamala. Now, again, I don't think that celebrity endorsements work. Money is money. That will always be a good thing. But no one's voting based upon what Mark Hamill thinks. Maybe there's like one. Maybe.
Some big Star Wars fan out there.
Yeah.
That really wants to follow Luke Skywalker.
Who doesn't he turn into Darth Vader?
No.
I don't fucking know.
Darth Vader's his dad.
Anakin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing confuses me because it was like they started in the middle and then whatever.
They jumped around.
So Harris, she received $4 million and a big boost from the White Dudes for Harris. What a party I would never, ever want to be at. The online event drew more than 190,000 white dudes, which, man, no matter how you say it, it sounds scary.
Yeah.
$4 million was brought in. It had 64,000 viewers. Ooh, indeed. And some of the white dudes include only the coolest. Well, actually, one dude is cool, Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges can do whatever he wants. Do I have my dude toy?
We're like white, man.
Yeah. If Jeff Bridges says everything as the dude,
yeah,
then that's fine.
This aggression will not stand, man.
Okay, then I do think Lebowski's dead fucking broke. He's voting for Harris, so that's good. Then you have Sean Astin, Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
yeah,
Mark Hamill, and then this guy Bradley Whitford, who is always on Bill Maher, never has said anything intelligent, and the only thing I really know him from is Billy Madison when he's the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
He's the guy who's trying to take the company away from Billy.
Right.
But then Billy says, fuck you, buddy. I'm going to go through the American education system all the way through high school, and then that's going to prepare me to run a multi-million-dollar business.
Sure.
That's the premise there. So the white dude celebrities, they urged viewers to contribute to the Harris campaign and stand up to former President Donald Trump. This is what Bridges said. I was brought to this party not so much for being white, and I certainly am, but because I'm the dude.
Yeah.
There you go. So there you go. He is embracing that.
What? Bradley Whitford? Is that his name?
Bradley Whitford. Yeah.
He's also a scary guy in The Handmaid's Tale. So this is even scarier that he's like white dudes for Kamala.
Right. And it's, again, though it's the kind of the white savior complex.
Oh, big time.
And I understand, as a white man, I love black people very much. And I've even fallen trapped. That would be like, let me help you, please. Like the guy on the plane who was like talking to the Jewish dude. He's like, shake my hand. I love you. Shake my hand. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Whites, we got to calm it down.
Sure.
If anything, blacks need to help us.
Yeah.
I've seen us. We could use a little black help, please, God. My Lord. So he says, the dude says that it's time for a woman president. I am for that. Again, you could focus on some policies, but this is going to be more of a superficial approach to politics. He says, Kamala is most certainly our girl. Okay. So that's good. That's his girl.
Not even a woman, a girl.
Yes.
Now people are gonna get pissed at that.
Well,
There's no winning.
There is no winning, and that's what these guys are all gonna find out. It also reminds me, like, I don't want to talk about race. Well, I can talk about white people all I fucking want.
Yeah.
They steal stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And don't be stealing like the first black female president in history. It's like what happened with the Me Too movement. It was started by a black woman. And then all of a sudden, like all these rich white gals were like, hey, let's take that idea. This is going to be great.
Right.
And then we completely lost sight of what happened and why it was in existence. So this is just slightly aggravating from that perspective. They say that Harris, this is part of a big voting block for Harris. She needs white dudes. Obviously, white dudes still matter in America, damn it. And in order for her to win, she's going to need white dudes, specifically in the Midwest, where she is gaining ground in some key battleground states, Wisconsin, Michigan, not so much Ohio. But certainly she is gaining some ground there. And obviously white men will play a big role in that. The voting blocks, she also needs black women, South Asians, and then, of course, the gay community. That's what they say. They break things down into very binary little widgets.
Yeah.
And, of course, all of those different groups of people are diverse in their own right. So this is according to the organizer Ross Morales Raquito, which
doesn't sound very white.
Doesn't sound white to me. you in whiteface, Raquito?
Maybe that's the...
Yo, Raquito!
You know he's taking 20% of the fundraising out of there anyway. So he's like, I'll just galvanize the white people and they'll pay my salary for the next 20 years.
That is true. He is the one who spearheaded white dudes for Harris, which I'm sure that's going to be on Pornhub at some point. There's going to be a nail-in, pale-in, or a white dudes for Harris. And every time you click, $5 goes to her campaign.
Yes.
Isn't that nice?
That's very nice.
So he says, I've been thinking a lot about men.
Wow.
I've been thinking about the unique challenges that many of them face. That is true. And how those challenges turn into violent or destructive tendencies with other people. He goes on to say... Or couches. So then he goes on to say he wants to address the elephant in the room, which is apropos, I suppose, although, of course, Democrats are donkeys. So he says, a lot of people feel and felt uncomfortable about the call, and I think this is understandably so. Throughout American history, when white men have organized, it's often with pointy hats on.
Whoa, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, for like what's the pointy hat? There's a bunch of different groups. What's the ones there?
The KKK.
Well, I know. I'm talking about the positive one. I know the KKK, little dipshits there with their stupid fucking.
The Shriners aren't really pointy though.
No, they're not pointy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They're like,
they're flat.
Yeah, they're flat on the top.
Yeah.
They had their points shaved down.
Right. So Morales says, I think the skepticism is understandable. But before criticizing the political left for ceding white men to the MAGA, right for way too long. So basically, he's like, he does agree that the Democratic Party has sort of left whites in the dust, even though they keep on, electing him and shit like that. And then he's like, well, Donald Trump really spoke to those white guys because, he's half drunk, even though he's sober.
Yeah.
So he can still drive you home, which is kind of nice. So he says, we're going to get some of those guys back. He said the silent majority of white men are not MAGA supporters, and we want to get those people on board. Then, of course, you also have, not to be outdone, the white women for the white women for Harris.
But it's still a dog whistle for, I mean, it's not even a dog whistle. It's literally saying white people for whoever. And so he's still trying to galvanize like that dumb part of their brain where they're like, oh, whites are congregating over here.
Right.
But for a good cause.
But for a good cause, as opposed to a football game, a basketball game.
Yeah.
A whole series of different, I don't know, equestrian events. So the white gals, they're also at it. And there was a huge fundraiser for them. It was last week, Moms Demand Action founder Shannon Watts organized a massive Zoom meeting, and it was entitled White Women Answer the Call. It's kind of scary. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
We're coming from inside the house.
Pick up the phone.
Hello, Sydney. So on the call, there was over 200,000 participants. But you want to know what's funny? More participants than the dudes. Only raised 2 million. What the hell is going on, ladies?
Right.
The dudes got 4 million with 180,000. You got 200,000 people. You got 2 million.
But then they're going to complain that they don't make as much money as the men.
Well, you better give it to Miss Harris to change that. So she declared, white women, we have 100 days to help save the world.
Yeah.
God, they're whites. Every day you got to pull your head out of your ass, which is something that no one really understands.
Yeah.
It's difficult to wake up white, getting your head out of your ass every morning. You got to unbaggle yourself like my dog, like Jer Bear when he's sucking his cock. And I was, Jerry, get off of it. And if I see Jerry Red Rocket, I'm like, this cannot stand.
This is going to be a day.
So she says basically that we're white saviors. And without us, she cannot win. There's another person that named Connie Britton, who she's a successful actress. I actually really enjoy her work. But she's calling herself, quote, a Karen for Kamala.
I don't know
so
if that's
Karen's
the way to go.
I don't think so. Not sure if you know the racial history of Karens.
Yeah.
Not exactly the kindest people on earth. And again, that's a whole nother story. We talked about Susan Smith in the past 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Just one of many examples of a white gal being like, a black man? I think a black man did it?
Killed my kids.
Indeed. And of course, they always kill their own. So according to influencer Ariel Fodor, she got 1.3 million followers on TikTok.
Wow, look at
That's
that.
doing better. That's better than me. My Instagram keeps on going down. I don't know what's going on. They're like, I'm mad at him. Oh, okay. Look at the evidence there, pal. Jackass. So anyway, she's known as Mrs. Frazzled. She's been speaking a whole bunch, and she was talking about how we need to help Miss Harris. She says, we're here to help gentle parent us through this election. There was another thing where they were talking about how white women shouldn't talk. So, but then there's like 1,000 of them on a screen.
Yeah, that's why there's so much infighting with all this stuff.
Right. And they're all yelling.
Yeah.
Right. But then she says, no, we shouldn't speak ever. So she says, BIPOC women have tapped us in, which I think they're making this up. She says, BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. And then Fodor, she talked about all about her white privilege.
Oh.
She says she wants to make positive changes. And then she told them, the chief among them, shut up. But it's funny because they're not. Right? Because then they continue to talk. but that's kind of interesting where she's like, the thing we're going to do is shut up. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to talk all about shutting up.
Yeah.
But you just got to do it.
She's mansplaining.
Oh, so she says, if you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them,
Ooh.
unless, of course, maybe they're going the wrong way down the road, or maybe they don't have the right ingredients for a cake. You know, they're human beings.
She's the one that's saying we need to gentle parent everybody. If you're parenting, you're correcting.
Indeed.
Oh, boy.
So she says, well, I believe that she is saying that they need to gently parent her.
Oh.
Because apparently she didn't have parents. So she says, and God forbid correcting them, take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So take your not listening ears off.
Yeah.
So and then put your listening ears on. Squirk, squirk, squirk. And then next thing you know, you'll be able to be a better white woman. So there you go.
Wow.
So if you're Harris, you'll take it. I also think that she probably thinks that it's really lame. But you know what? Any vote works. Any vote works. And speaking of getting the votes, Harris, she also wants the drag queens. So she went on the season 9 finale of RuPaul's Drag Race, and some people were mad and some people weren't. I don't know. It's a show. So she says, I mean, really, is it like, whatever. So this is what she says. She says, each day we are seeing our rights and freedoms under attack, including the right of everyone to be who they are, love who they are openly and with pride. The VP and presumptive Democratic nominee says, so we have to fight back against these attacks. Let's all remember, no one is alone. I will say this. She is saying that on like one of the #1 shows on TV.
Yeah.
Which happens to have nothing but drag queens and drag stars. But nonetheless, so she's going out, reaching out to the key component of the Democratic base. Naturally, that will be mildly polarizing for some who will see this as an indication that she's the devil and will not vote for her. And then many people, such as myself, is like, yeah, I don't watch the show, but that's where you're going to get your white women.
Right.
So there you go. So she's doing a little bit of political pandering. Not quite as bad as when Hillary brought the hot sauce on the Breakfast Club.
Oh, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
As a matter of fact, Charlemagne the God, who I don't know why he calls himself that, but that's fine. He has said that he's going to endorse Harris, and I don't believe he ever did that with Hillary.
No.
But as we learned in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, be careful of celebrity endorsements because, again, no one likes celebrities. I'm barely one, and people hate me. So just don't do that. If you're the Democrats, get back to the grassroots, get back to that coalition that made the Democratic Party so amazing, which was when they reached out to the rural farmers, when they reached out to the people who were struggling economically, when they really had a working class base.
Yeah.
That completely is obliterated right now.
Yeah.
And that's where Donald Trump was able to come in and bring that sort of scattered, shattered base and make it under the MAGA umbrella and get one voting coalition. So the Democratic Party, they have to do that. Of course, okay, go on RuPaul's Drag Race and get those votes. Although I'm not sure if the LGBTQ is just, I think they're voting so heavily Democratic.
Yeah.
I think you already got them, but again, I understand.
Double checking.
Double checking.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to Donald Trump, just briefly, I want to talk about, actually, you know what? We'll end with this story. So let's go on to Donald Trump.
Okay.
So Donald Trump, oh my Lordy. So it looks like, did you see the picture of his ear?
No, I haven't seen the
So
the
that's
update
that's
here.
his new ear there. And it's like fine. And then so a lot of people are like, what the fuck is going on?
Put a little
there?
wood filler in there.
Yeah, got a little filler, put a little Gorilla Glue in there. And so a lot of people are like, well, was he shot? Was he not shot? So that's still happening.
Oh my God.
And then the FBI director did the FBI officially did come back and disagree with Christopher Wray and said, yes, he was shot by a bullet. So that kind of continues to go on. But I bring that up solely because the momentum from said assassination attempt, which I do believe is real, has gone. You know, that boost that he had 2 weeks ago, you know, if you would have said that Donald Trump wasn't going to win, you would have been like, I don't know. I think he's definitely got a better shot than that dude who tried to kill him.
Yeah.
But now, with the difference with, of course, obviously the Democratic ticket, Harris has said that on Monday, as early as next Monday, she may announce her VP choice. I believe it should be Mark Kelly. Shapiro out of Pennsylvania. There's a small scandal where apparently he covered up some sexual harassment. I'm not sure about all that. I don't know, but that story is obviously going to make some waves.
Yeah.
And then you have Bashir, the dude Cooper out of North Carolina has said, I don't want it anymore, because he knew he wasn't going to get it. So he's like, no, I'm done. I do believe it should be Mark Kelly. But that is interesting. All of the sympathy that Donald Trump had, all of that momentum after the RNC, which was a hell of a show, has seemingly evaporated. And I think that's because of JD Vance.
Wow.
JD Vance is a horrible VP pick. All of the rhetoric, as we mentioned on top of the show, that he said, bashing Donald Trump is coming back to make
so
Donald
weird.
Trump look like a cuck.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
sorry.
so odd.
It's so weird. Like, I will cut friends out. I'm just like, you're not my friend. Like, if I find out you're backbiting me, backstabbing me,
Yeah.
saying shit not to my face, and then all of a sudden I find out, it's like, well, fuck you, dude. I can't trust you anymore. You're
Right.
gone. But again, in the world of Peter Thiel and American politics, I guess all was forgotten. I don't think they would have chosen JD had he known that that Harris was going to be on top of the ticket.
Yeah, because Donald Trump is always like known as the straight shooter. I'm going to tell it like it is, even if it's not popular. I'm going to be brash and whatever. And he's the first guy to be like, you're fired. And then all of a sudden, I would like to know why he made this decision to get this guy who has talked so much shit.
Yeah, I really do think Thiel has a lot to do with that. Also, JD Vance is now attempting to be Donald Trump and trying to be like, I'm mean. I'm real mean. I'll piss on your neck. You know, he just doesn't know how to do it because he's just such a little pussy dipshit.
Yeah, it's people coming out of Catholic school, going to public school, trying to be tough.
Exactly.
They don't know how to do it.
That's why I stayed in Catholic school.
That's right.
It's like, I know my place here,
Nice
guys.
boy.
Well, I steal, and people are like, I stab. I'm like, you steal other people's blood for fun? Oh, I steal cigarettes. I'm kind of bad too. Donald Trump has sort of stuck his foot in his big old mouth as of recently as well. This is when it comes down to Christians. Obviously, that was one of the reasons he got JD Vance, was again to relate to the Christian voter. But he said in a very strange statement, he said, the statement is very simple. He says, I vote for me, or you're not going to have to do it ever again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Take this. I'm sorry. No, you don't have to take it back. Don't edit. But vote. He says, vote for me. You're not going to have to do it ever again. And then people were like, well, what does that mean? That's kind of scary. So you're going to stop all elections.
Yeah.
So then he went on Laura Ingram's show, and she's a fake Christian. She has a gold necklace. Because remember when Jesus was hung on that gold cross?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was desperately trying to get him to sort of like walk that back. So Ingram says, you meant you won't have to vote for you because you have 4 years in office. Is that what you meant? And then Trump didn't directly answer her. He's like, no, I meant that I'm not going to have any more elections because I'll just be president forever. I guess that's what he's trying to say.
Dictator talk.
And then Trump said, Christians do not vote well. But that's not true. That Christians vote very, very well. The Christian Coalition is known for high voter turnout, so that's just wrong.
Voting's always done in like church basements and rec centers where they're always at anyway.
Exactly. They're a very homogenous group. They tend to vote the same.
Yeah.
That's why, of course, they were such an important voting bloc for the Republican Party for so long. He says they vote in very small percentages. That's not true. He says, why? I don't know. Maybe they're disappointed in things that are happening. And then he says, I say you don't vote. I'm saying go out. You must vote. But I said to the Christians in the room, thousands of them, I said, typically Christians don't vote. But then he says, don't worry about the future. You have to vote on November 5th. After that, you don't have to worry about voting anymore. But then everyone's like, what does that mean, Donald?
Yeah, but this is America.
And then he said, I don't care because we're going to fix it. Well, the countries will be fixed. We won't even need your vote anymore because the country's going to be fixed.
The whole thing's fixed.
Fixed. So you can just let it go back to hell then?
Yeah, we're utopia forever.
So again, all of the, maybe Donnie's going to change. Maybe he's going to come across as more of a grandfather-like figure. I feel like all of that momentum's sort of gone.
Yeah.
He's Donnie as usual. And now JD Vance is there as his attack dog. But as we know, that attack dog was previously the one who was biting his kneecaps, desperately trying to get him not to run.
Yeah.
And Herod, the entire interview here with Laura Ingraham, she's just like, please stop saying they won't vote again. And he's like,
give this one favor.
Just one, desperately trying to guide him. And he's just like, no, I said they won't have to vote anymore. Like Maduro.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
She's trying to end the Hitler comparisons because that's what people always say about him anyway, that he's thirsty for power and he'll kill his opponents. And he's like, yes.
Yes, I will. I mean, look what's happening with Maduro. He lost the vote and he's about to go have a massive civil war.
Oh, boy.
That's going to be horrible. I really hope everything's all right. Okay. Lastly, let's talk about Alan Lichtman.
Ooh.
He is an election forecaster. He has been correctly predicting nearly every presidential race since 1984. Which is an apropos year in many ways. He developed a formula, and it's keys to the White House. It consists of 13 true or false questions.
Wow.
Right now, Harris has more keys to said White House. Each question is asked about the two dueling nominees. If true, they're given a key. If false, their competitor receives a point. So that's exciting. It's pretty cool. The keys are as follows: party mandate, contest, incumbency, third party, short-term economy, long-term economy, policy change, social unrest, scandal, foreign military failure, foreign military success, incumbent charisma, and challenger charisma. So Harris, being the likely nominee, holds 6 of the 13 keys. These include short-term economy, long-term economy, policy change, no scandal, and no challenger charisma. Although I think Donald Trump has quite a bit of charisma in his own very strange way.
Absolutely.
So there are still 4 keys out there that have yet to be handed out. The remaining keys include the third party factor, which Lichtman said is notable, giving independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy. Now, what's interesting, Donnie Trump and his crew is a little bit upset because they're looking at RFK Jr. be like, can you get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, they're trying to get him in the cabinet to get him to bow out.
But before, they're like, you go and you work out.
Yeah.
You show him your abs and you show him how much you love ladybugs and your weird voice and tell him more about that earworm that ate your brain.
Yeah, your Adam's apple full of bees. It's fucking talking and scaring people.
Not the bees. Bees are just like, get me the fuck out of here. It's so horrible. I know he has an issue. I know he has a condition, but
it's stressful to hear him talk.
It just hurts, man. It just hurts. I'd rather hear RFK Jr. Well, no, JFK Jr. Now gurgling all that water. So keys are still in the air. Some keys are still in the air for having no social unrest, as well as foreign military failure and foreign military successes. So if Democrats lose 3 more keys, then they would be projected losers. However, a final projection has not been made yet for 2024, but Lichtman told News Nation that he believes a lot would have to go wrong for Harris to lose.
Wow.
Interestingly enough. And again, this man has had it right now. How many years? Is that 40 years?
No, from 84. Yeah, it is 40 years.
Sold.
Wow.
What's happening? The nice thing is I like to hang out with older people because they're like, I'm 43, I'm so old. And they'd be like, you're still young, but they all have
Yeah.
asthma and emphysema and talking with an oxygen. I'm like, yeah, I'm not dying.
But here's my question. How much of this is a self-fulfilling prophecy because he goes out to the news every year to be like, I can predict him, I can predict him, I can predict him. And then once he predicts them, people go, oh shit, he predicted it. I got to go vote for that person now.
It's very possible. There's something to that. He did correctly, I would say in pushback, he did correctly predict Trump would win in 2016. And everyone's like, you should probably not be a professor anymore.
Yeah.
I remember that. I had a professor on, what was his name? Heman, I don't know, unemployed.
He-Man.
And he said Trump was going to win. And everyone was like, yeah, that guy's kind of a quack.
Wow.
Obviously, in 2016, he was correct.
Quack, quack.
Because they use this scientific model, or as scientific as social science can get. He also predicted Biden in 2020. So if you're the Harris campaign, you're hearing that and you're like, all right, well, there's some good news. That being said, you cannot follow the Hillary model of 2016 and ignore key swing states that, ironically enough, are mostly made up of white women and white men.
Yeah.
So that's who you need.
There's also Kamala is going to be having some real hard times with the guy who was arrested under her leadership in San Francisco, charged with murder, was never spoken to by a police officer, the DA, nothing,
Really?
and just sat and rotted in prison for 6 years. And then they dropped the charges and he walked free because they didn't have an actual case against him.
There's going to be, so a lot of people who are victims of her policies are going to come out and be like, could have done without that.
Yeah,
Wow, sort of a Khalif Browder situation.
absolutely. 6 years, it was even longer.
And as I just mentioned, Harris, she will be potentially announcing her VP pick as early as next Monday and then embarking on a multi-state battleground tour, which she has to do. You got to press the flesh. And as I've said no, not a couch, flesh. And as I've said many, many times in so many places, this is what Donald Trump did. Just go and show up. Even if they disagree with you, they'll be like, well, he showed up.
Yeah.
You know, they're just, people want to be seen. So just go see them.
Yeah.
And it should be kind of fun. Campaigning's like super fun.
Well, didn't Trump come to LA to do a big talk?
Yeah, he's been
last time?
everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes everywhere. And again, that was Hillary's biggest issue. Her rural outreach campaign headquarters was in Brooklyn. Was in not South Park, Brooklyn. The place where all the old people are.
Park Slope?
Park Slope.
Yeah.
Literally, her rural outreach campaign headquarters was in Park Slope, Brooklyn.
Shout out to Bar 4 and Giannis Pappas.
Giannis.
Took me up there for years.
That's it.
That's it.
So, again, short list. Bashir, Shapiro, Tim Walz, I don't think he's got a chance. And then Buttigieg, I don't think so either. But again, my guy would be Mark Kelly if I was going to choose. Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for watching on YouTube. This is our first filmed live.
That is true. Wow. Hey.
Live, but, live to tape.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Thank you, boys, so much for setting all this stuff up. You guys are amazing. We'll be back later on this week. Hail yourself, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.